Brown Bag Mornings Power 106, and we are joined by Aramis Knight.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
Let's go.
What up, my guy?
It's cool to be here. I grew up listening to Power 106.
No way.
100%. Sick, bro.
100%. I remember being in the car with my mom, like Usher, playing
Yeah.
on Power 106
wow.
going to school,
Yeah.
or like T-Pain Bartender.
Bro,
Look at you.
that was like 20 years ago. You were on your way to work?
No, I
You just said that you've
maybe
been
some
working
of the days. Yeah.
for 20 years.
Yeah, since
Yeah.
I was 5.
Wow.
But no, I was definitely, I mean, most of my core memories are heading to elementary school, but I didn't like do the whole high school thing, so.
Wow. Were you that kid that was like, they brought you like McDonald's and took you out early like all the time?
100%.
Oh my God, I hated
Hey,
those kids.
respectfully, I hated you.
Yeah, no,
I was so jealous.
no, they would come from the office. They'd be like, "Oh, Aramis, like your mom's here to pick you up," and in my mind, I was like, "Oh, I booked something. Like I'm about to go work on
Wow.
something." Yeah.
And you were at what age were you?
Like I mean, I started when I was 5. So,
Damn.
Well,
Yeah.
Do you remember like your favorite, either commercial or booking when you were a kid that like registered?
I mean, I think I think it's still like kind of a defining project for me. I did a movie called Ender's Game when I was 12. Yeah, I mean, I made really good friends with everybody on the movie, but I also think it was kind of the first time when I actually like took something sort of seriously. And it was the first time where I feel like it was kind of my choice. You know, when you're 12 years old, it's like you're fully autonomous. You know, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
And I feel like that was the first time where I was like, oh shit, like can I curse on this show?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just did.
Okay. I was like, oh shit, like I actually am doing something serious that can actually like turn into something, lifelong, which it has now, at least up to my 25th year. So I would say that was a pretty defining project for me.
You were in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually, that I booked that little cameo role off of Ender's Game, John Papsadera, who actually just cast me in Karate Kid.
Look at you.
Nice.
He was casting The Dark Knight Rises at the same time that I was cast as being in Ender's Game. And they called me like 2 weeks before I was heading to New Orleans to go do Ender's Game. They were like, there's this small role in The Dark Knight Rises. Do you want to do it? Of course, I was like,
Batman.
super down.
Yeah.
But I remember
Yeah.
getting there and having no idea where I was. No idea. Like Christopher Nolan, like Christian Bale,
Right.
Anne Hathaway, all of them there. But like I was a kid, I didn't know who they were at all,
Wow.
So I just thought like Anne Hathaway was super bad and like, Christian Bale was super cool. You super cool to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember the experience being like super great, like
Yeah.
now as a day player, as a 25-year-old on a Christopher Nolan film, I would love to do it, but I'd be shitting my pants.
Right. You need a little more
You know what I'm
geek.
saying?
Yeah.
And stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but then it was just like, no, like whatever. I was 11 years old, so like I didn't care. I didn't know who any of them were.
Wow.
So
I have a
how
lot
did-
of stories like that actually.
How did like the acting start? Do you have like family in acting, or was it just kind of like?
No, it started with me. So my mom is a real estate agent.
Okay.
And there was this lady named Nancy Chavez who I actually think passed away recently. I haven't seen her in years, but she had a small boutique agency. And my mom, I think, sold her a house or helped her with something.
Yeah.
She met me and she goes, "Oh, your kid's so cute. You should sign with me." It was a small agent. And like the first 3 things I went on, I just booked immediately. So
Yeah.
me and my mom were like, "Oh, this shit's easy." You know what I mean? It's like, bring me the money. Which it's not at all. It's not at all.
Well, do you remember like your early roles, like what you would do, like when you're 5?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because my grandparents, my grandfather's from Hyderabad, India, grandmother from Karachi, Pakistan. Mom is like German, English, all that. Before like, everybody needed to be so politically correct, I was always like, either Mexican or, some sort of Hispanic. No, I was. All the time I was like, I used to be like Juan. I used to be like all of those, bro. Every single one of them. Tito. I played every single one.
Were you ever Edgar?
No, I never played Edgar.
No. Oh, okay. He's Edgar.
But now it's like, I can only play true to, I have to be, I'm South Asian, so,
That's crazy.
Okay, all right. Kind of serious question. Is that limiting? Like, it's like, wouldn't you be open to like more roles? Like,
yeah. Absolutely. I think specifically for me, it's fairly limiting because I think, we talk about, sort of the PC culture around sort of the entertainment industry now. I don't really fit into any one box, like I've done shows that were like, South Asian representation, which like, I only fit into it halfway, so a lot of people are like, still kind of, looking down on it a bit, like saying that I'm not, fully representing a culture. Because, I mean, honestly, I was raised by my mom. I was raised in a white household. So I can't say or claim to be somebody who, like, comes from this, like, South
Very
Asian
traditional.
background.
South Asian
Yeah.
background.
So I would say, yeah, it is super limiting. But I find for me, it's like, I really only play roles now that are, like, other. You know what I mean?
I get
like,
what you mean.
I'm never going to check a box because I don't really check a box. I'm other,
Well, that's
so.
the thing is, like, I feel like actors by nature are chameleons anyway. Like, why not just let them be
Totally.
whatever they're choosing to be? You know what I'm
100%.
saying? There's like so many iconic, like Al Pacino's Italian, and it's like he played a Cuban. It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, it was
The
totally
cockroach,
fine.
like
No,
that's
so true.
iconic.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
sometimes you can be too close to the situation or something like that.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
I know there's like, boxes have to be checked at a certain point, and I think
Right.
it's good for the industry overall.
Yeah.
But for me specifically, I find that like I always do really well in like sci-fi or like action, things that aren't like super centric around like
Ethnicity.
representing a culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I say that, and it's like I did a show, a few years ago that was like totally Muslim representation, like
I see.
and like all my family in Pakistan are like going crazy
Oh,
over
that's
it.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you're from Woodland Hills, from the Valley, born and raised.
Yeah. Well, I was born in Woodland Hills. I've lived in the Valley my whole life.
Okay, dope.
Oh, Valley Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've lived like everywhere. Like, I mean, when I was a kid, I lived West Hills, Canoga Park, Northridge, Chatsworth, all those areas. Then I moved to Sherman Oaks when I was like, 12 or 15, and thought I made it to the big city in Sherman Oaks.
No, that's a really it is.
yeah. And now I live in Toluca Lake.
Okay, nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, is there any like creatives or athletes or anyone from the Valley that kind of like inspired you?
It's a good question. Isn't Paul Thomas Anderson from the Valley? I don't really know. Honestly,
Not sure.
that question catches me off guard. I don't
No, it's
I don't
alright.
necessarily have like a Valley hero like that. I mean, I have like LA heroes, like
Yeah.
Tyler the Creator's from
Of course.
Ladera Heights,
Yeah.
Frank Ocean, obviously.
Yeah.
Who else?
So, did you grow up in the Odd Future era?
Is that like
Is that like
yeah,
your
for sure. Like
your
No.
like?
type?
For sure. I mean, I think the whole like Loiter Squad, like Odd Future era was maybe a little before. I mean, I was super into like Wolf, and obviously when
Right.
Yonkers came out, it was like
okay.
the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But I think like more recently, I've become like kind of a Tyler the Creator savant, I guess.
Have you ever gone to the festival, the Camp Flogna?
No, I haven't. I just went to the Chromacopia tour though.
Okay.
Chroma-
It was incredible.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah.
That's super dope.
He did like a whole like eras thing.
Right.
It was amazing. I didn't expect that from an artist like him at all, because he just seems like, like a product in the front type artist.
And he's still
where he
so
would just-
young. Like, to like, but he really has had that many eras.
Oh man,
crazy. Yeah, that's true.
His set design or his stage design was incredible. It was like this huge walkway into this sort of like middle section, like by the DJ, and he had like sort of props from each of his different generations. So he had this sort of like Wes Anderson style for his
Yeah.
like, when he was in his sort of Wes Anderson phase, and he had his like Igor style, and then he was kind of like jumping between each of them. But it was incredible.
Yeah, like the vinyl switch up was cool. How he transitioned from project to project.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, I was definitely losing my mind when he was playing like Rusty and like
Oh, yeah.
Her and playing all these like
Yeah.
classics.
Dang. So
classics.
you're like a big fan of Tyler the Creator.
I love Tyler. Yeah. I mean, I'm not like a super fanny type person in general, but I mean, there's like artists that are like defining for me, definitely.
Who else?
I would say he's one of them. I mean, Wayne, when I was a kid, like
Lil
Lil
Wayne?
Wayne was my idol
Oh, yeah.
growing up.
What
Like,
was the song that you would sing of Lil Wayne?
I mean, like, Got Money, of course, like
Yeah.
that era Lil Wayne, but like, I don't know. You guys know the song Mess off of Carter 5? It's like a really deep
Sing-
cut.
That's a
Sing
deep
it, sing
cut for
it.
sure.
I'm like, rap it.
I know it is a deep cut, but that's a great Lil Wayne song. I mean, he's got so many.
Yeah.
He's got so many. But yeah, I grew up in the like Carter 3 era, so
Did you also
like, Got Money,
skate?
Lollipop. Kind of. I wasn't like a big skater, but
What? Okay, you're giving me skater or like surfing vibes.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. No, I mean, I skated around, but I wasn't like super into skate culture.
Right.
I would use it as like transpo before I could drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So the Karate Kid movie, it's based in the Valley, right?
No, actually, it's based in New York.
Oh, it's based in
Oh.
New York.
Yeah,
okay,
this
because
one's
it's
based in
usually
New York.
based in the Valley.
Yeah.
The show.
Cobra
Yep,
Kai is like the All Valley
Reseda,
tournament,
yeah.
Reseda and stuff like
Which
that.
is funny that now I sort of enter this franchise, and now
Yeah.
it's like not in the Valley, even though I'm from the Valley.
Yeah.
Funny enough, Ralph is not even from the Valley. Like when I met him, I was like, for some reason, I just expected him to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Encino," you know.
Right.
He's not.
He's from Jersey, I think, right?
Yeah. He still lives on the East Coast.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about just like this franchise and like stepping into it. Like it's super iconic since the '80s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Now you're part of it.
I think it came at like a really good time for me. I think, you know, like as an actor, I don't know if this is like relatable in all jobs, but like there sort of comes a point where you kind of have to kind of like put your ego to the side and like kind of figure out who you are and how you fit into said industry. And I feel like Karate Kid came at a really good time for me when I was like really putting my head down, really focusing on my work, and like just sort of getting those like mini payoffs of like, I know I'm good for this role and they know I'm good for this role and I get this role because of that. So for me, I feel like, yeah, this is like, it feels like really adult being here now, and this is kind of Aramis's personal experience, and then I'll get into sort of the lore behind Karate Kid. But yeah, it felt like the first time where I was just like prepared and like just ready for it. I don't really know how to explain it. It felt like divine timing, sort of. But then, yeah, of course, like being on set, like being around Ralph, being around Jackie is like insane. He's one of the most like just like vibrant, charismatic people. You're
Really?
like,
Yeah.
he's exactly how you'd expect him to be.
For real?
I don't know how I would expect him. To
I don't
be.
know,
I
I-
would expect him to be like himself off of Rush Hour.
Me too.
Really?
That's pretty. That's
Really?
That's pretty much, yeah.
He's playing
Always
himself
making
there.
a joke.
Yeah.
He's kind to every single person on set.
Wow.
Utterly in control of the set because, of course, he's Jackie Chan.
Right.
You know, like when he's you know, arguably one of the most famous actors in the whole world.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, in terms of worldwide appeal, I don't know if
Yeah.
anyone is really up there with him.
Yeah.
But
Does he still do his own stunts?
definitely, yeah. I mean, he's you know he's in his 70s. He's in his 70s
He's in
now.
his 70s.
But he still moves like he still moves for sure.
Wow, he's limber as hell.
Yeah. He was always like, I think he like has some lingering injuries here and there, but
Yeah.
he was doing all his stuff. I never saw a double for Jackie on set.
Crazy.
That's wild. At his
And when Ben
age?
and I are fighting, because
Yeah.
Ben and I fight like a ton in this movie, and a lot of the time it's like, you know, Jackie sort of in his corner, of course, you know, his sensei Shifu. But it was like we're doing this choreography in front of like the master of all
Yeah.
movie choreography. And like
No
he's-
pressure, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean you try to, you know, act like you belong. You know, it's hard for imposter syndrome to not like kick
I
in
bet.
there. But he would like be there and he would be helping us. Like he was like part of it. So it's like this is choreography that has nothing to do with him, but it's like he has such a wealth of knowledge that it's like he was there for us, and like it was insane, like learning this choreography while Jackie Chan is like critiquing us.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
sit there and be like, "What is this actually happening right now?" Yeah.
No, but he's like the coolest guy. I mean, he had this like Sprinter van. Of course, he has like entourage and security and shit with him. But every morning he would pull up in his Sprinter van and like all the windows are all like, of course, blacked out. And the driver rolls down its window and it's Jackie driving.
What? He's driving his entourage?
Yeah. I'm like, bro, what are
You're
you
supposed
doing?
to be in the back.
Yeah, 100%. It's like,
He does
no,
all
he's
his own
driving. Yeah.
Driving too.
Yeah.
And his stunts.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That
yeah, I
is
mean, I can't
wild.
say enough. Funny enough, though, it actually wasn't my first encounter with Jackie Chan.
It wasn't.
I was on a TV show for a long time called Into the Badlands. It was like a martial arts TV show on AMC. But the guy who I played opposite sort of in the show, Daniel Wu, who's one of my like huge mentors now, Jackie was his huge mentor. Daniel's a huge star in China, and he's a big star here too, but huge star in China. And basically he was on the JC stunt team, met Jackie Chan at a party, and Jackie said, "You're way too handsome to be a stuntman. You should learn Chinese." Because Daniel was from Oakland and he went there to go be a stuntman because he's a wushu guy.
Yeah.
So then basically, yeah, Daniel ended up taking his advice, ended up learning Mandarin, and ended up becoming one of the biggest stars there. So him and Jackie like have deep ties.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was going to Daniel invited me to Beijing. I don't remember what we were doing, but we ended up going to Beijing. And when I met him there, I was like, first off, like super jet lagged. And this was like probably 6 years ago now, you know, 6-7 years ago. Super jet lagged, but he's like, "Oh, we're going to go to dinner tonight. Like I have something special planned. Like, just come, you know, basically. So I ended up getting picked up, and then we got taken to this like sort of like office building. It was like, it felt super officey, but it was like super
type,
no, like downtown LA, like skyscraper, like glass windows, like super modern, that sort of vibe. And I was like, where the hell are we? Like, I thought we were going to dinner. And like there was like a Rolls Royce dealership in there, which like sounds like I'm making that shit up.
It does sound.
I'm not at all. And there was like cut in half jets, because I guess there's like, it might have been like a jet showroom or something.
Okay.
But long story short, we end up taking this elevator up into this big hallway that just has pictures and pictures and pictures on the wall, and I'm just like, what the hell? What's the common denominator here? I'm looking at all the pictures, and I'm like, oh, Jackie Chan is the common denominator in each of the pictures. So at this point, like, mind you, I have no idea where I am. I'm just with Daniel in this random building, and out comes Jackie Chan, and I'm just like, whoa. Yeah, had absolutely no idea. But yeah, we sat and we ate with him. Spent probably 5 or 6 hours with him around this big ass revolving table with just Chinese food revolving on it. So yeah, that was my first experience.
That sounds completely.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
my mom was there too, which is even crazier. Yeah.
And meanwhile, you're all jet lagged. Like, is this happening for real, or am I dreaming?
No,
that was his office, or like
it was his office. Yeah,
what?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He has revolving Chinese food in his office.
Yeah, it was super
and a Rolls
baller.
Royce dealership.
Yeah.
Bro,
and
I don't know how much of it was his, but
right. Being in this space, like, how big is martial arts in your life?
I mean, for me personally, I was never a martial artist before I got on Badlands, and Badlands was very, centric around the martial art. So like we trained in wushu a ton on that show, and I've always like played basketball. I've always been, fairly athletic, but I was never super limber. But I actually became pretty decent at it on that show because I was on it for 4 years, and we trained all the time, and I was just pretty dedicated to it. And then I did Miss Marvel, which, sort of brought it around. I didn't do a lot of martial arts in that show, but it was kind of part of it, And then Karate Kid, obviously, it's a huge part of it, especially for my character. It's a huge part of it that he's got to, he's got to look deadly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I'm deadly by any means, but I think I can look deadly.
You can whoop somebody's ass, though?
Have you cracked the wood with your hand yet? Have you done
that? Actually.
You have?
Yeah, it happens. But it was all, it's not very impressive. It was prop wood, so you could just like...
I was about to break some wood so you can or a brick.
No, you can like use your pinky.
Tell me where to buy the prop wood, because I'm gonna show my son. I'm in the gym.
Yeah, for sure. It snaps like it's like so
That is hilarious.
Yeah, you breathe
now
on
we
it,
know.
it breaks.
Wow.
All this time, but
on camera it looks sick.
Yeah, it does.
You'll see. Yeah.
Does Jackie use real wood?
Probably. I'm sure he could. Yeah, he's definitely next level. For sure.
I know you said that you do a lot of action stuff like that, movies. Have you ever thought about maybe doing, I don't know, romantic or horror?
Absolutely, yeah. I've done a couple of horror films here and there, like nothing like that I'm super proud of, I guess. But
Why do you say it? Why do you say that?
Well, as an actor, the movie gets made like 5 different times. So it's like you might have the best script in your hand, the best character of all time, and then you go watch it and it's just dog shit, like straight up. And then there's other times where you're like, I don't get it. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, maybe you're just doing it for the paycheck, or like just because you aren't working or whatever. And then you go see it and you're like, oh, I just didn't understand it at the time. You really just don't know.
Wow.
But I mean, so you get to a certain point where you kind of know, based on who's involved, the script, you can kind of foresee. But I would love to do horror or romance. I would love to. I've just always found myself like very in between. Like, I feel like I'm highly specific. I don't feel that relatable.
When it comes to those roles, you think you're not? It's not for you.
Is there any roles like?
It would be for me. I just haven't been cast in them.
Oh, so they haven't told you like, hey, you want to be this guy in this movie?
No, I mean, I've done some horror films. I've done I've obviously had romances on screen, but I've never done like a rom-com. Right?
Yeah.
I would love to do a rom-com.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Like a Judd Apatow rom-com.
Oh, Judd Apatow? That would be
incredible.
Is there any roles like you wouldn't do? Because I feel like I probably wouldn't do like I'm the devil or something in like a role. Like I'll be like, nah, I just don't like that. Like,
like bad juju or something involved
I'll be like, even like look at like the Joker, for example.
Yeah.
Say that has like a certain like stigma attached to it that
I'm sure it did.
Place,
yeah, I'm sure it did.
Is there any roles that like come to mind you wouldn't probably do?
I've actually never really thought about that before. I think just anything that I can't fully put my chest behind, and that's not always easy to say because, like, working as an actor is really, really difficult. So if you have a job opportunity in front of you, if it's not right for you to say no, which I've done before and I've taken them before, it's like it's a very difficult decision. Right. You just don't know when the next job is coming. But I think, like, just anything that I couldn't put my chest behind. Like, if I'm like, just like an example, if I like love Toyota trucks and Chevy wants me to do a Chevy ad for them, like I'm not going to do it. Like I'm a Toyota guy, I get you. I would never want to do anything that like that I just can't represent fully. I can never be the guy who like fakes shit in front of the camera. Right. I can never smile when I don't want to smile. It's just not really in me like that. I think I've been around the industry for so long and like I've been that brown noser before that just like says what people want you to hear and does what people want you to do, and I'm just to the point now where I'm just like I really don't want to do that. Right. Like, I don't want success if it's at the I guess sacrifice of my like inner beliefs. Yeah. Wait, what feelings?
What's brown noser? Is that one of the Mexicans you played? No, I'm just kidding.
That's all you heard.
You know that saying though. You know brown nose. Okay.
Brown nose.
Hey man.
I'm just playing. Look, May 30th is coming up. It's coming up very soon. Are you nervous? Like the premieres on?
No, I'm not nervous. I'm honestly just really, really excited. I already got to see the movie, and I'm super pleasantly surprised with it. You always try to like, tape your expectations for something like this because obviously it's a big deal. But I was like very, very happy with it. And Jonathan is like a great director and Ben is amazing in it. Jackie obviously is Jackie. Ralph is Ralph. So it's like, it's kind of this like smorgasbord of like, the classics and then like really cool, hip, new kids that are like super into it. But everyone was so professional. It just felt like everyone was just doing their job and we all knew what movie we were making. Yeah. And it just felt great the whole time, like, genuinely. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of days on set that felt like labored or... Yeah. And I think you see it in the movie. You could tell everyone's just having a great time.
And question specific to, like, the movie and, like, does that tie at all into Cobra Kai? Or is it just the same universe? Are there any characters from Cobra Kai that are in the Karate Kid Legends movie?
Yeah. I don't think I can say, but it's definitely in the same universe.
Okay.
Like it's not like a totally different timeline.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I think they said it takes place like 4 or 5 years after the end of Cobra Kai or something like that.
All right, that makes sense.
So like chronologically, it doesn't make sense with the show having just ended.
Right.
Yeah. No. I get it.
It's like definitely it's definitely in line with the universe. But I wouldn't say that if you haven't seen Cobra Kai, go see Karate Kid Legends.
Right.
It doesn't.
I get what you're saying.
What
I mean? Okay.
Yeah, it's not like a prerequisite to watch the film.
If you've only seen the first Karate Kid, you'll get all the nostalgia just off that. You don't need to go. You don't need to. I mean, go watch Cobra Kai. Yeah. But they're not exclusive to one another.
And for me, I never really watched the original Karate Kid movies. I don't know. I think they were just a little before my time. So I only watched Cobra Kai, but they had like things to bring you up to speed. It would be like
there's definitely parts like that in the movie.
Just like, that's why
there's just pure nostalgia. There's certain parts where fans will just completely lose their minds.
Wow.
Just like really iconic things.
All right.
Let's go.
That's dope. I'm excited to see it now. May 30th. Karate Kid Legends, and we got Aramis Knight in here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Brown
you,
Bag
guys.
Mornings Power 106. Thanks for coming, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.